welcome or welcome back. My name is Trina. Today I'm starting off a really short intro for a video that I'm really excited for because tomorrow I'm doing a big drive to visit some family, do some traveling and stuff like that, and I'm going to be visiting Gothenburg, Sweden, or Göteborg, and while I'm there I want to do a bookshop tour. I'm really excited about this because a lot of the other places I've been visiting only bookstores I've never been to before, versus Göteborg is my family's hometown. It's where my dad grew up and it's where my family's from in Sweden. And I've been to a lot of the bookshops there already and I'm very fond of them. So I'm kind of gonna be showing off the bookshops a little bit, but I have found a bunch. I've been in there so many times that I was like, oh yeah, there's I don't even know that there's enough to make a bookshop tour of this city because there's only 4 bookshops. And then I searched up and there are so many more bookshops than I thought there would be. So I'm there's some new bookshops, there's some ones I've been to before, so I'm really excited to take you through all of them. The only things I'm shopping for in particular are I'm looking for a copy of Detaljerna, or The Details, I think it's called in English, the translation, which is a Swedish book that I saw the translation recommended by Jack Edwards, and I was like, well, I read Swedish. I need to keep my Swedish reading level up, so why don't I try to get a Swedish copy of that and read it? So that's on my shopping list. And then I'm also looking for books by Tove Jansson, who wrote the Moomin books, but also has some other contemporary adult novels that I want to pick up. So those are the Swedish books I'm looking for. And then as always, I'm very open to finding gorgeous English books with beautiful covers. So I'm not looking for anything particular other than those 2 things in these bookshops. And I'm just looking for a joyful experience of going through bookstores. And a slightly hectic one, because I have one afternoon and 10 bookstores bookmarked that I'm walking to, so we will see if I get through them all. Whether or not you've ever been to Sweden or you want to go or anything like that, I hope this video will just have nice bookish library vibes, and I hope you enjoy coming along with me and seeing bookshops in a part of the world you might not have been to before. A part of the world that's very special to me. So I will go get myself packed and ready and then head out and take you with me. To start off my day, before I did anything else, I needed some caffeine, so I started off by going to Majornas Books and Coffee, which is a combination little coffee shop with sort of an indie bookstore vibe. I got a hot chai latte, which, well, in Europe you never really know what you're gonna get when you order a chai latte, but this one with a loose leaf tea, and it was actually a pretty good blend mixture. I probably just should have ordered it like a regular chai instead of a chai latte. The majority of bookstores you go into sometimes in Sweden have very large English selections, but this bookstore was focused only on Swedish books and a lot of Swedish-only authors. I love their display setup, their recommendation setups, and that they had lovely, comfortable seating for people to come and get a book and a coffee. Next up, after a little bit of a walk to get more into the city, I randomly stopped by this place called Mynt Musik, which is primarily a used music place selling records and CDs, which I did buy a CD, but they also had a really fun old book collection that looked primarily like donated books. If you've ever been to a library sale, it sort of reminded me of the selection you would get at a library sale, a little bit random, but they had a little English shelf, they had a lot of Swedish books, old school magazines as well, a huge collection of old magazines. This bookshop was not originally on my list to stop by. I just happened to be walking past and I saw a bookshelf inside and I stopped in. So I was really happy that I did because it didn't show up when I originally searched for bookshops in the area. I thought it was only a 30-minute walk, so I was like, I'll just walk to this next bookshop. Because of the construction, I've had to reroute and it's ended up being a 45-minute long walk. But I took a stop at Mr. Cake, my favorite cafe in the area. Got myself a delicious chai, got myself a semla, so life is good. Life is good with semlor. Next up, we had another bookstore with primarily older, used books called Antikvariat in the Haga area of Gothenburg. Everywhere is pretty dead right now because we're still kind of in the winter, but usually this area is really populated and crowded during the summer. I never even realized this bookstore was here, even though I've been to this area a ton of times, so I was really excited to check it out. They focus primarily on older, antique books, used books, Swedish once again, which is and it was probably more of a spot for collectors. This place and the next place were more like collectors spots, but they did have a Jeanette Winterson book translated into Swedish, and I love Jeanette Winterson, so I thought that was really fun. But it was just a quick browse here. And then I continued on to the next older antique bookstore called Antiquaria, which, if you thought the last one was old books, this one is next level old books. There was a sign out front that said Rea, which means sale in Swedish, and I got so excited to see the sale books. This was a more intimate small bookstore, so I didn't film as much around because I didn't want to like bother the shopkeeper and the other people there. But again, primarily Swedish books, some gorgeous old covers. In particular, some like older books, like they had a really cool cover of a Swedish version of 1984. They had some stunning Jane Austen covers that I was very tempted by. And their sale shelf was also crazy cheap at 20 krona, which is like $2 US per book. If I wasn't trying to reduce my physical TBR right now, I absolutely would have picked some up. I'm running behind schedule, and I forgot that it's a crime in Sweden to eat lunch after 2 p.m. So everything's closed, but they let me get takeout, which was really nice that I could just bring with me. So I'm gonna go find a park to sit at and eat my kebab. That was fucking delicious. I'm just sitting in a random park, eating a kebab. Delightful. I finally got to the more central part of the city, so we're into some of the more like chain style places that I've been to a few times. Starting off with the Akademibokhandeln, which is basically as close to like one of those bookstore chains you can get in Sweden. Like I've been to a couple of locations of this, and these are bookstores whose audience I'd primarily say are students, so they also have like stationery supplies and like journals, notebooks, all of those kinds of things. I had to admire the stunning covers they have. Look, the Swedish versions of Babel were just absolutely stunning. The purple is so good. Why don't we have that in the US? Like I said, I've been to most of these bookshops before, but I'm realizing definitely not all in the same day because they all have very limited opening hours. Like they're only open like 4 or 5 hours a day. So trying to hit all of them in those 4 or 5 hours, stressful. Passing by so many record shops. That is not what we're doing here today. I do not have time. And now on to 2 bookstores I was most excited to visit again, 2 of my favorite bookstores in Sweden, the English Bookshop and the Science Fiction Bookstore. Starting off with the English Bookstore. Obviously this bookstore, as you can see by the name, is only English books, which in Sweden is its own special thing. I beeline straight to the classics section of this bookstore every time I'm there. They have some incredible classics cover versions that I've never seen anywhere else that I obsessed with, out of my budget for sure right now, but I just like to go in and look at them and admire them because they're so beautiful. This bookstore also feels like the most like bookstores I've been to at home, like independent bookstores in the US that I usually go to. And it's a great way for me to like keep up with new releases in English and what is most popular in English right now, the same way that I would at home. So I thought that was fun. And then I went outside, and right next door is the Science Fiction Bookstore, my other favorite bookstore in the city. The first floor has a little shelf of books, but is primarily other random merchandise that they have. At a little cafe area where I didn't get anything this time, but I've had chai there before and it wasn't bad. But their real draw is if you follow the footprints downstairs, you get to this absolutely massive cave of sci-fi fantasy books that they have in their collection. Just anything you can imagine. They have like a huge shelf just for Brandon Sanderson, a huge shelf just for Tolkien, a huge shelf just for Robin Hobb. They cover all of the sci-fi fantasy ground and also a lot of manga and then some classics as well, and some horror as well thrown in there. And they have it separated out by English books and Swedish books, and they have a lot of both. but I want it so bad. Finally a copy of Buried Deep that isn't horrendously ugly. No offense, but oh my god. But I had to resist the beautiful covers this time. And then, right on the corner of the same street with those two books, I went into Adlibri, which is another kind of chain bookstore that I've seen a couple of places in Sweden that has just massive tables covered in books. Specifically, they separate out, they have both English and Swedish books in here, and I would say a pretty even balance of both. And they always have amazing sales, especially this 50% off table. I had like 3 books in my hands that I had to pick between, and they also had some, again, gorgeous classics covers. I feel like the US is so behind compared to like some of the stunning classics versions that they have in the EU for various languages as well. Just gorgeous, always a favorite bookstore to stop by. And then I took a little walk, and in this little market area that you have to sort of wander through the front doors and wander past a bunch of other little shops, and there's just like a little indoor seating area that's really great. There is another little used bookstore in English. I wanted to explain the name of this bookstore. It's Less is More. Obviously, less is more is a saying in English, and it's a very small little bookstore, again, which is why they have the name Less is More, but läs means read in Swedish, so it's a little play on words that I love. I like this place. It's really small, really cute, but they set it up really well for the space that they have. There isn't like a ton that they can work with, but they've managed to really take advantage of it with massive big shelves. They also have a little first edition section and a really cute book blind date section that I thought they sold really well with the stickers in the front, and made me super tempted to try one of their blind date versions. This is the end of my feet, I fear. 2 more bookstores to go. 2 more. Finally, the last walking stop, I stopped by Mare Litteratur, which is a little out-of-the-way used bookstore that I'm pretty fond of. I like to stop by there and sit in their comfy armchairs and flip through the different books that they have. At this point of the day, I've seen every type of Swedish used book that you can find, but they still had some extras, especially in the English section. I thought it was fun how many Expanse books that they had. I was considering adding to my collection there. The people that work here are always really fond of like a chat about their books that they have in stock and other books. And I usually find a few things here to add to my TBR just because of how well that the booksellers sell them. And then lastly, on the way out of the city in my car, I wanted to stop by one more bookstore that was only open in the evening, like I think 4 p.m. to 7, compared to the others that were open like 1 p.m. to 4. So this was a little bit of a special place called Pony Books. They primarily had independently published books focused on like race and queer issues, all of which were super intriguing, and I was very tempted by these books, especially because they definitely aren't the type you would find in any old bookstore. They're very unique. They had a little community gathering place happening, and it made me wish I lived closer to the city so that I could join in their membership, because I thought it was really sweet, and everyone there was really, really nice. Hi, I'm back. It's been a few days because other than the bookshop tour day in the city, I also did some hikes out in the beautiful green early spring southern Sweden vibes that were just gorgeous, and I had a really, really beautiful time. I just wanted to sign off on the bookshop tour. I hope you enjoyed, and give you a mini little haul of everything I got that day. Overall, a lot of my haul is just I got a lot of stickers and bookmarks from all of these places that I use in my travel journal for all the bookshops I go to. I try to get bookmarks or something like that to talk about them all. I also did get one CD in one of the shops because it was only 50 kronor, so it was only like $5. I got a Waterloo CD just because I have a lot of other ABBA CDs, but I just don't have this specific ABBA CD. So I just thought I was like, oh, I'll get that, it's cheap. I like my CD collection, so I'll add to that. But in terms of books, I ended up only getting 2. First off, I got this one. I managed to find Italiana by E.A. Yenberg, which I talked about in the beginning of the video was one of the books I wanted to get. I don't really love this edition. It has not a single margin in sight. It's absolutely tiny. But you know, it's pocket size. It's a pocketbook, so that's okay. And it was really, really cheap. I think this edition was only like 10 bucks. And it's new, it wasn't on sale or anything like that. It just was a $10 book. I actually know very little about what this is about, other than I think it's about a woman who dies and then about all the people who knew her, or like about like all the little details of a person's life collected through all the people that know individual parts of them, is that kind of vibe, and it's literary fiction. So I'm really excited to read this. I also want to read this because it's very short. I'm excited to get into this, and when I bought it, I bought it at Majornas böcker, and the woman who worked there was like, oh, great choice, I love that book, in Swedish, and I was like, yeah, I'm so excited. I love when people at bookshops have read the books that you're buying and get excited about it. Like, she wasn't trying to sell me on this, I went and got it, and she was like, oh, I love that. I'm like, so I'm really excited to read Diana. And then I also randomly picked up Chlorine by Jade Song. This was a super impulse purchase. It is on my 25 books for 2025 list because I saw it around New Year's and I was like, well, I want to read it this year, so I'll add it to my list. It's kind of a body horror book about mermaids and swimmers, about like a young woman character who is a swimmer and then wants to become a mermaid. And yeah, I think there's I saw it recommended as like body horror queer mermaids, and I was like, sold, I'm in. So I wasn't actually planning on buying it. I have it on hold at the library right now, but this UK edition is gorgeous. I love the US edition too, don't get me wrong, but the European edition of this is beautiful, and it was in their 50% off pile, 50% off the sale price already at this one bookshop. So I ended up getting this for $5 total, 50 krona, and I was like, steal, sold, I'll take that. Brand new book, absolutely nothing wrong with it. It seemed like they had overstocked. So I was really excited to pick this up. We'll definitely be reading it because it was already on my list for the year. So now I have a copy. Yay. But that was my little mini haul to end off the bookshop tour. I had a lot of fun. I'm planning on going to other bigger cities in my area, both here in Scandinavia and also in other places in Europe, around about anywhere I can take a train, basically, because I like going to new bookshops. So if you have any places where you can recommend to me that have incredible bookstores, please let me know. I would love to check them out, and I'll probably have more of these videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please feel free to leave a comment about any of the bookshops, anything you want, or like or subscribe or whatever you want to do is up to you. I love making these bookshop tour videos because it takes me to so many bookshops I normally wouldn't go to. So I had a lot of fun making this. I hope you had a lot of fun watching, and I will see you in the next video.